Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is Russia preparing to attack America? I'll say it again. Is Russia preparing to attack America? And the answer is yes, absolutely positively. Now, the truth is she's been preparing to attack America since about 1912, after the Revolution. Okay, so yes, she's been preparing to attack America for a long time. But the question is, are there things happening that show us that it might be very, very close? Well, I'm going to say yes. Now, before I get into this, let me give you the good news right up front. Yes, if I did not have the prophecies given to us specifically by my wife, Leslie, Prophet Leslie Johnson, then right now I would be jumping up, down, screaming bloody murder that the Russians are about to attack, But I know that is not here yet. Okay, now I know that it's going to look like that, and I'm going to show you why. And I do think that they are preparing to attack, and one day, the 6 chapters in the Bible says that they will attack and will defeat America in one day, in 1 hour, such great riches will come to naught. But I don't think it is yet, and I'm going to show you why. But first of all, the reasons why she is preparing to attack us. From HowToTurnTheRadioShow.com headline, U.S. Senator remarks on TV, trigger Russia nationwide nuclear attack exercise. Now, here is that short clip.
Well, military action could mean that we stand off with our ships in the Black Sea and we rain destruction on Russian military capability. It could mean that. It could mean that we participate, and I would not rule that out. I would not rule out American troops on the ground. We don't rule out first use nuclear action.
It goes on to say, given the context of his remarks, what Senator said is even worse than at first glance. Senator Wicker sits on the Senate Armed Services Committee. So when a man who is sitting on the U.S. Senator on the exact committee who can speak to such issues casually mentions first-use nuclear, it has stunning consequences. Now, let me just say, it has always been America's policy. We've always said that we would never be the first to use nukes. Then about 7, 8 years ago, the Russians popped up and said, okay, we're changing our policy. From now on, we're saying that if we are threatened, we might be willing to be the first one to use nukes. But now, this Senator Wicker has shot his mouth off, in my opinion. He has opened up a can of worms. He has given the Russians permission to attack us first because he has now changed our policy. This guy needs to be fired. And there needs to be apologies all over the place for what he said. I mean, the president needs to call Putin and say absolutely positively, this guy is some kind of repercussion needs to happen to him. As in at least stand in the corner, put your nose in the corner. I mean, something real bad needs to happen to this guy because now he has just challenged the Russians. And for the last couple of days I've been talking about that the Russians are growing angry just like the prophecy said. The Russian bear will get angry and then finally attack. This guy is sticking his finger in the eye of the bear. He is a problem. Now, let's go on. He says, today the world sees the consequences as Russia conducts a snap nuclear exercise with its strategic nuclear forces nationwide. In other words, what is happening right now is worse than the Cuban Missile Crisis. Why? Because in the Cuban Missile Crisis, first of all, the missiles in Cuba weren't always exactly in place to fire, and they were not near as accurate or as deadly as they are today. But when we have Putin openly saying we have missiles that can go 5 times the speed of sound, they can go up and down, left and right, and you cannot shoot them down. They're openly saying this. And we're sticking our finger in the eye of the Russian bear. We are in trouble. This guy, there needs to be some kind of consequences for this Senator Wicker. This is a problem. He needs to be rebuked, and he needs to come and apologize. He probably needs to call Putin himself and apologize. I'm sorry, I shot my mouth off. That will never happen again. Some kind of consequence, because he changed in this one statement. He changed years of American policy where we have promised we would never be the first one to use nukes. He just changed that. Let's go on. And now that Senator Wicker has made his first-use nuclear remarks, trainloads of Russian troops, tanks, armor, artillery, and surface-to-air missiles are heading west toward the Ukraine border. Look, Russia has been, how do I say this, chomping at the bits. Russia has been salivating, waiting for this moment. Now, what we've just done is given the Russians permission to use nuclear weapons first, because we've just said we'll do it. So now, really at any time now, Russia could attack and say, well, look, they threatened us. And so they said that they would use nukes first, so we're okay to use our nukes first ourselves. It gets worse. HalTurnerRadioShow.com, as you recall, this was a while back here, November 13th, headline, U.S. reactivates nuclear artillery unit in Germany, putting hypersonic nukes within range of Moscow. But everybody else says we don't have hypersonic nukes. Okay, but the point is this. We are angering the bear. We are moving our military closer and closer to actually and literally threatening Russia. So if Russia hits us first with nuclear weapons, we've given them some good reasons to be able to do so. Things on the world stage just got deadly serious. An American nuclear army unit has just been reactivated in Germany for the first time. Are you listening to this? For the first time since the Cold War, and is to be armed with long-range hypersonic weapons. But again, we aren't supposed to have hypersonic weapons. Both the Dark Eagle long-range hypersonic weapon, which can now accelerate up to 4,000 miles an hour. Of course, the Russians go, 5 or almost 6,000 miles an hour. And the Typhoon launcher and control system, both currently under development, position its task forces at a potential conflict against key adversaries. In other words, we are threatening Russia with a first strike nuclear event. We are threatening them. If the Russians were to attack tomorrow, now they could say, well, we were threatened. This is how world wars start. Now, we've been watching for the tribulation to start here. Well, I have for the last several years. We've been saying that it would be some kind of a major war that would be involved in the start of it. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Let's go on. Back up again, November 13th, HalTurnerRadioShow.com, updated 2:30 p.m. Saturday. Russia is now moving tanks, artillery, and troops toward Ukraine. Again, Belarus asks for nukes. So these are fighting words, my brothers and sisters. This is how a world war starts. We've not seen this. Now, I mean, obviously, on December 7, 1941, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, that started a war. But this is how it starts before the bombs actually fall. Let's back up to another one. October 28th, headline 2, U.S. Seawolf fast attack subs show up in San Diego, receive top secret cargoes, and depart port without crew disembarking. They put up these cloth coverings so that the Russians, via their satellites, could not see what they're putting on the submarines. Now, anytime someone, how do I communicate? We always tend to think the worst. Like, for example, if somebody walks up and they double up a fist at you, what do you think? They're not trying to shake your hand. They're doubling up a fist. You always assume, well, hey, I'm watching the other fist. I'm looking to see if the other one is already coming. Okay? So in a war situation, my brothers and sisters, we tend to think the worst. It's human nature. Okay, so what is going on right now? The Russians must, if they're smart, and these are the chess champions of the world, okay, if they're smart, and they have to be assuming the worst. They must be assuming that if we didn't already have nuclear weapons on our submarines, that now we do. And I tried to find the other article, but there was another article that just in the last week, the Russians have not announced, but inside sources have said that they have sent out all of their submarines, their nuclear armed submarines. They sent them all out. Where do you think they are? Well, by now they're sitting on our beaches if they want to be, just like the prophecies said would happen. But let's go on. Now, I'm not going to read all through this. I read through this 3 or 4 weeks ago. You can go back and you can read all if you want to. You can stop, pause right now if you read it. But essentially, it's saying not one, but 2 nuclear submarines were pulled into port. The crew didn't get off. It was all covered up so they couldn't see what they were doing. That makes the Russians assume that they were doing something really, really bad. Maybe it's some kind of a new weapon that the Russians don't know that we have, or they're going to assume the worst. See, that's what they'll assume the worst. And I'll let you read it, but I'm going to skip on to make the point here. Then, just the last couple of days, this was dated December 6th, this headline. This is from Benjamin Fulford, December 6th. He says, Khazari Mafia circles the wagons around the drain. The worldwide offensive to permanently liberate humanity from the satanic Khazari Mafia, we call them Moloch and Baal worshippers, is intensifying on all fronts. Multiple sources agree. Now, what's really going on? I think right now we are seeing a spiritual battle between light and darkness like perhaps has never been in human history. We are seeing these massive arrests that reliable sources say are going on, and I believe they are. Okay, so that's making them mad. So a bunch of their buddies are getting arrested. And what are they doing? They're trying to start a world war. They're trying to get us into position so that the Russians will attack us and will take us out. Remember what one of the top people told Benjamin Fulford. He said that we have, here, I'll read it exactly here. I've got it read. We have been ruling this planet for thousands of years and we will destroy it rather than give it up. Is this the way they would destroy it? Absolutely. Get the Russians to attack us. This is in retaliation for the arrests. This is in also retaliation for us removing their SWIFT banking system, which I don't think is going to happen before the 1st of January, but probably shortly after, probably the first quarter of next year. That's just a guess. I don't have any inside information. But probably the SWIFT system will go away. The new quantum financial system that, let's see, finalwakeupcall.info says is coming into place, is probably going to come in place. These guys are going to lose their cash cow. They're going to lose their financial backing. The thing that has been the greatest, yes, drugs makes lots of money, war makes lots of money for them, but the number one thing that makes more money than anything, well, that would be the SWIFT banking system that controls the whole globe. They're about to lose that control if the good guys take over, if these massive arrests really do take place. Just like I heard March 9th, wasn't it? Massive arrest, massive arrest. Let's go on. Here's another thing. This is a little bit of good news. This comes to us from Simon Parks. I don't recommend him as a New Ager. But he says, as part of the second phase, Russia is going into parts of Ukraine to take back Ukraine. Ukrainian troops falling back to pre-planned defensive positions as part of the plan. In other words, it could be that these Moloch and Baal worshippers are using what is supposed to be a good plan, turning it into trying to get the Russians to attack America, to take out America, because America is trying to take out them. Now, let me back up. Let me show you something else. Let's go back to the Benjamin Fulford article. It says here, the biggest next move is to return Ukraine to the bosom of Mother Russia. Why? It says the fall of Ukraine will cut off drugs and money laundering activities that support the fake administration of JB. So, they're not only getting their financial system removed, but now they're getting their home territory removed. A lot of their financial backing is being removed. And that's the reason I think they are trying to start a war. I think the Moloch and Baal worshippers are trying to get Russia to attack America. That's what's going on. It's like there's 2 levels, okay? So it's down here in the flesh level between JB and Putin and all of that sort of stuff. The NATO, there's the flesh things. But the real war is up here in the spiritual realm. The real war is between light and darkness. The real war has to do with the Moloch and Baal worshippers and let's call them the white hats, the good guys that are trying to remove them. Let me remind you, Now, I know we have a bunch of new viewers here, so I got to back up and give you a little bit of a history on this. This is, in my opinion, my 40 years in prophecy, the most important prophecy outside of the King James Bible. The quick story is, Dimitri Duduman was a Romanian pastor. He was arrested and put through 5 months of torture trying to get them to tell how he smuggled Bibles into Romania and Russia. He wouldn't tell them. So they put him in the electric chair, not once, but twice. And as they turned the electricity on, the whole room lit up with white light. The angel Gabriel appeared in the room and said, "Don't worry, you're not going to die. You're going to America to give them a warning from God. Plead the blood of Jesus." So he started saying, "Sinjalulu Isus, Sinjalulu Isus," which was Romanian for the blood of Jesus. He woke up on the floor, they're pouring water on him, couldn't kill him. Put him back on the electric chair the second time, same thing. Going to America to give them warning from God. That was 1980. So, in 1984, he arrived in America. The angel came to him again and said, "Get beside me." Took and showed him California, Las Vegas, New York, and Florida. He said, "Do you see all of this? This is Sodom and Gomorrah. In one day, it will burn." He said, "How's it going to burn? America's so powerful." He said, "Here it is. The fall of America will start with an internal revolution." That's what's now in the early phases of starting. The prophecies say you're going to see tanks, literally, rolling down Pennsylvania Avenue, going up to the Supreme Court, the White House, and to the Capitol, and taking over. Started by the communists, some of the people will start fighting against the government. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and 2 other countries will attack and defeat America in one day and 1 hour. Now, if you watched the program I put up, I think it was this past Monday, I showed you biblically and scripturally where I believe the fall of America, specifically the Russians attacking America, will take place. Now, if I'm right, that means it's not going to take place until after the tribulation starts, and approximately 4, 5, 6, and if we're lucky, hopefully, in the 7th year of the tribulation, as in like about 4 or 5 months before Jesus returns. Now, I can't guarantee that. That's just a big fat guess, but I did not get a yawn. And for those of you that don't know this ministry, a lot of times when I'm saying something wrong, I get a big yawn. And then on the other hand, I got the anointing touching me several times as I was researching, several times as I was also presenting that to you. So I believe that I'm correct there. Now, what does this mean? It means that this is not, that's the good news today, this is not ready to start yet. But brothers and sisters, we better be praying. We better be praying. Look, when Russia sent out their subs, America's moving military equipment to Ukraine, it doesn't look to me like this is a prearranged deal. I mean, in the flesh, it looks to me like we're about to go to World War III. Now, we didn't have the prophecies, and that's another reason why you want to continue to follow this ministry, is because not only, like, for example, everybody is saying, "Oh, La Palma's going to cause a tsunami to hit the East Coast." And I was saying, no, that's not what the prophecies say. I do not have one prophecy that is legitimate, and I certainly didn't have 2 in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses saying that La Palma was going to cause a tsunami. And I said, no, not going to happen. Everybody else is saying, "Oh, yes, it's going to happen. La Palma's going to cause a tsunami." Everybody, all these people were hearing from God. I said, it didn't happen. Not going to happen. At least not yet. Guess what? It hadn't happened. Same thing here. You know, this has been my primary call since 1987 when I met Dimitri Duduman, is to get this message out. And if there's anybody that would tend to say, "It's about to happen, it's about to happen, it's about to happen," it would be me. Yet, I'm sitting here saying it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen yet. Let's read the rest of the prophecy, then I'll show you some other things that relate to it. So then, after the Russians attack, God raises up China, Japan, and many other nations. They'll go against the Russians. They'll defeat the Russians. They'll back the Russians to the gates of Paris where they sign a peace treaty, but they make the Russians their leader. Under the leadership of the Russians, all the world goes down to attack Israel. Israel can't count on the help of the Jews in America, so she cries for Messiah. Jesus returns on the clouds. It's Armageddon, destroys the armies of the earth. Now, the angel said, "So that you know that I'm truly the angel of God, I'm going to tell you 4 things that will happen to you tomorrow," and all 4 of those things came to pass. You can find all of that in this book, God's Warning to America, at prophecyclub.com. I'm going to move on. The reason the primary reason we know that those prophecies are not about to happen is because of this young lady right here, my wife, Prophet Leslie Johnson. Essentially, what happened, I've got, what's the date here? Okay, April 15, 2002. She had a dream, and she was told that Arafat would go into the hospital. Well, in 2002, April 15th, that was a big deal because Arafat wasn't allowed outside of his compound then. So to put out a prophecy on the radio to all of our best supporters that Arafat's going to go and die in the hospital is a very big prophecy. Yet, about 2 years later, 11/11, get the right date, 04 at 3:30 a.m., Arafat died in the hospital just like she was told. That confirms that prophecy, meaning if part of it comes to pass, all of it will come to pass. So the rest of it was Arafat would die in a hospital, the Palestinians will be given a state, oil will be discovered in Israel, Israel will strengthen their military using the oil, Israel and the U.S. will go against most of the rest of Islam. Then, January 22 of 2006, she heard the audible voice of God say, Israel refuses help to America. Then she heard the rest of these 6 prophecies in her heart. Now, this is the order I think that they will come to pass, not necessarily the order that they really will come to pass. I think first we'll see the words were Omer ushers in Palestinian state. Then catastrophe hits America. One of America's greatest times of need. Israel refuses help to America. Israel has attacked America, sends troops. Chaos reigns as Americans protest help to Israel. You should be writing those down. Then I heard Stan's voice quoting Dimitri, the fall of America will start with an internal revolution. It's because of these prophecies, today I stand before you and I say, it is not time. I'll say it again. It is not time for Russia to attack America. Yes, I know it looks like it. And if I didn't have these prophecies right here, if I didn't know that Leslie was hearing from God, then I would be telling you, there you go, Russians about to attack, pack your bags, get out of America right now. That's what I'd be doing, but I'm not packing anything because I know she heard from God. Besides that, as I said in, I think it was either Monday or Tuesday broadcast, I showed you the timing. I showed you scripturally where America falls, and it's not yet. I'll say it again. It's not yet. When it's time, believe me, I'll be screaming bloody murder from the top of my voice, saying the Russians are about to attack. The Russians are about to attack, but it's not time yet. Now, I got this article, and it kind of ties in. This is actually apparently a new sculpture that has just been put up at the UN. And here's a little bit closer look at it. But what I want you to notice here, right there, you see that? What is that? That's the swirl. That's the 666 on here. Well, would we expect to find a swirl or a 666 on some kind of a statue at the UN? Yes, we would. Now, let's go on. There's a little closer look at it. Here's a further away look at it. Remember Daniel 7:6 says, After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had on the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. Well, this is actually supposed to be a jaguar, and those are supposed to be, I believe they said, eagle's wings. It'll tell here in just a second. But there's not 4 of them, so that's not it. But it is still, it's supposed to be for peace. Well, it's not their kind of peace. Their kind of peace is we want to break everybody and to cause everybody to go into a world religion, world government, and things like that. He had the Guardian for International Peace that says that security sits on the Visitors Plaza outside UN headquarters. The Guardian is a fusion of jaguar and eagle and donated by the government of Oaxaca, Mexico. Yeah, well, thank you, Mexico. We really appreciate that. Nothing good comes from that. Instead, what it is talking about, as you recall, Daniel chapter 7, this is all talking about the 4 beasts there, but the thing I want you to notice is, here is the leopard. This is right out of Revelation 13, but it also is confirmed in Daniel chapter 7. I saw a beast. It was likened to a leopard. His feet were likened to a bear, and his head were as it were a lion. His mouth had great iron teeth, and devoured, break in pieces, and stamped the residue. I'm kind of mixing the Daniel with the Revelation here. So what we're looking at is the early phases of a world government forming. This new quantum financial system coming in, that's the financial part of a world government. There we are. I'm comfortable in saying we are in the early phases of the forming of a world government. Now, I believe It'll come in, and at first it'll be good. Just like the internet at first was good. Movies at first were good. Music in America at first was good. But then the devil takes over and corrupts it. The same thing going to happen here too. This is the world government, and it's now in process of forming. Let's go on. Headline. More information. This is December 9, 2021. Headline exclusive. IMF, 10 countries, simulate a cyber attack on global financial system. I think that is a big, fat lie. That's the way we say it in Texas. Big, fat lie. That's a big, fat lie. That's not what they're doing. So what they really are doing? It goes on to say, Israel on Thursday held a 10-nation country simulation of a major cyber attack on global financial system and an attempt to increase cooperation. What they're trying to do is form an evil world financial system. It goes on to say, a simulated war game is what they're in the process of doing. And the article then went on to say, Israel, the United States, United Kingdom, United Arab Emirates, Austria, Switzerland, Germany, Italy, and Netherlands, and Thailand. Well, nothing wrong with that. Here's what's wrong. International Money Fund, the World Bank, and the International Bank of International Settlements, all three of those, that's the Moloch and Baal worshippers. Those are the people that believe in killing humans, eating them, drinking their blood. These are the guys, remember when Moses was coming down off the Mount Sinai with the Ten Commandments, he looked down and they had broken off their earrings and made themselves a golden calf. And what was the name of that calf? The name of that calf was Moloch. In other places, it also has another name, Baal. And then in other places, God specifically called it an abomination. I'll show you in just a second. An abomination to worship that God. And that's probably the oldest and the most evil religion on the planet, the Moloch and Baal worshippers. Yes, I know they call them Khazarian Mafia. Yes, they call them the Deep State, the Secret Hand or the Hidden Hand. There's a lot of different names. But really and truly, they are Moloch and Baal worshippers. Let's go on now. So the banks are appealing for emergency liquidity assistance. Why? Because their SWIFT system is in the process of being taken down. So says finalwakeupcall.info. Emergency liquidity assistance in multitude of currencies to be put a halt to the chaos as counterparties withdraw their funds and limit access to liquidity, leaving the banks in disarray and ruin. In other words, the truth is they're holding this secret little meeting because they're scared to death they're about to lose their financial control of the world's financial system. And so says finalwakeupcall.info. They will. Let's go on. The participants discuss multilateral policies to respond to the crisis, including a coordinated bank holiday. In other words, they want to shut down the whole world, and they want to re-implement their SWIFT system. They want to make certain that they are still controlling the financial system. But that's what all of this internal revolution is all about. That's what the massive arrests are all about. All of this is there's a battle between dark and light. There's a battle between the good guys and the bad guys right now for control of the world. That's what this is really saying. Multilateral policies to respond to the crisis, including coordinated bank holiday, debt repayment, grace periods. In other words, hey, give us some time. Give us some time. It's another ploy where they're trying to hang on to control and power. And hopefully they won't. This is one of the many different ways that Moloch looks. If you look up here in the top left, you see this mark of these. We have three different people that have dreams that were shown. This is literally what the mark of the beast looks like. Well, look right here. There it is in the center of that God. We also have two different witnesses. One of them would be me, is that this is the number of the beast. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on the right hand of their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark and the name of the beast and the number of his name. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for as the number of a man, his number is 666. This is a 666. And where do you see it? Right there. So this is Moloch. This is the cow god. And what they used to do is heat their hands up, and they would lay their newborn, the most innocent, the newborn in the hands. And as the baby started screaming, the Moloch and Baal prophets would pound on drums really loud so that the parents could not hear the screams of their newborn child that they just gave to Moloch. That's what they call passing through the fire. The verbal Baal means exercise or dominion. This is another picture of it here. Here's what the Bible says about Jeremiah 19:5. They have built also high places of Baal to burn their sons with fire. That's what we're talking about. For burnt offerings unto Baal. Moloch would make this brass, as I said, heat them up, and they sacrifice their children here. There's archaeological excavation back in 1920s discovered evidence of child sacrifice in the region. Researchers found MLK, that stands for Moloch, inscribed stone slabs for child sacrifice. So it's been proven. There's another picture on the internet. Some people say that it's just drawn. Other people say no, it's a real live sacrifice to Moloch. I don't know, but the point is it's going on. Jeremiah 32:35, and they built high places to Baal and caused their sons and their daughters to pass through fire to Moloch. There's your proof. That's what we're talking about. These are the people that the good guys are fighting. Here's the deal with the devil. I can't prove it, but indirectly, yeah, we can prove it. I believe the devil I believe right after the flood, probably happened right after Adam and Eve too, but right after the flood, I believe that the devil went to 10 different families on the earth. And he said, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I will give you lots of money and fortune and fame. I will give you control. I will make you rulers of the world, you 10 families. Stan, where do you get 10 families? Well, that's the same. Remember Revelation 13:1, the 10 horns, the 10 crowns, all of that is talking about 10 families. All right, same thing, Daniel chapter 7. I'll give you a lot of money, fortune, fame if you'll just make me your God. Well, that's a pretty good deal to us. But they didn't understand what that meant, because that meant that they have to give him lots of pain and suffering and death and blood from their fellow humans. And unfortunately, they said yes. And that's who we're fighting today on the physical realm. So I encourage you to pray against this Moloch and Baal. 40 books, $800 value for $100. Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy is a deep dive into Bible prophecy. Miss the Mark is the book you give to people that you never want to take the mark of the beast. God's Warnings to America's 101 modern prophecies, everything from Dimitri Duduman to rest of the most popular, the most credible prophets out there. Tribulation Secrets in Daniel is the book that you read to understand, as a tribulation saint, what you need to know. And then How Pre-Trib Won, you'll settle your question about the rapture. Now, you can get all 5 of these in a giant package. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets. Shrink-wrap sets of 10 for the Understand Bible Prophecy. Miss the Mark is in shrink-wrap sets of 10. God's Warning is shrink-wrap sets of 10. Daniel is 5. How Pre-Trib 1 is 5. So it's a total of 40 books, valued at $800, all for a gift of just $100 at prophecyclub.com. Berkey water filters have arrived. You see, most companies these days are out of Berkey water filters, but we just got a new shipment. Berkey water filters at prophecyclub.com. The Watchman package. Get 2 2-foot by 3-foot color updated charts, my handwritten book of the Book of Revelation, 5 DVDs where I taught the School of the Watchman, and 5 Secret Door books to understand Bible prophecy, valued at $355, all for a gift of just $200 at prophecyclub.com. Terry Saka is a prophecy student, and he reads his King James Bible, and he believes in winning souls so much he is supporting the Prophecy Club so that we can win more souls. So if you want to support someone that loves prophecy and wants to win souls, I'm going to send you to cornerstoneassetmetals.com, where you can get all sorts of precious metals, gold, silver, rhodium, palladium, and things like that. cornerstoneassetmetals.com. click like, share, subscribe, and send to a friend.